see that we have a due now, which is the journal writing. So everybody should have their journals. I'm sure you got them when you come in. But this is based on the reading that we did last night, which is a collection of the primary source and the secondary source from the excerpts are from, what is this guy's name? Guns, Germs, and Steel. Jerry Diamond. The excerpts are from Jerry Diamond's Guns, Germs, and Steel. So the reason I chose that text is because it has a lot to do with today's lesson. It's got a primary and a secondary source mixed together, or at least this man who wrote a secondary source uses a lot of primary sources. He cites them, right? So first things first, I want you guys to look at this picture, and this is your journal entry. This is your journal writing. Just want you to look at this picture and tell me what you think is happening here in a journal response. It could be a few sentences, no more than that. Tell me what you think is happening, and maybe the significance of what is happening here. So, y'all would do that, right? We're not going to practice that. But then we would come back and talk about it, and, you know, just for those students that couldn't get what was happening, what do you guys see here? What do we see? Yes, Colin.
Is that like a conquistador?
Yeah, right, this guy right here?
Yeah, sure. Is he like, I guess, kind of taking over their lands and suggesting, hey, listen to me, or something like that?
Yeah, it's pretty much what's happened, but this is a specific event of a conquistador named Francisco Pizarro taking this man, who was the monarch of the Incan Indians, taking him off his litter. They kidnapped him, okay? And I'm going to tell you more about the story as we go through. Of course, you should have read the story so you kind of know what happened. This is the priest showing the... So, as they're filling that out, or as you guys are filling out your journals, I'm going to pass out the guided notes to you. Okay. Which I love. The guided notes are always good. Like I said, this unit, well, as you all know, because you're in my class, we're doing a unit on early American literature. And we just read Christopher Columbus. Then you just read this. And today we're going to talk about... Thank you.
Thanks.
And I'm going to give you guys some information on how you might recognize bias in the text. That's the objective for the day. It is to be able to distinguish between the primary and secondary source and to recognize bias. So, I have a quiz based on the reading that's going to help us distinguish between the primary and secondary source. Give it right now, and then move on to the notes section of today's class. Or I guess I should give it after the notes. I don't really call that verb. But anyway, this is our source. Okay, so this is interesting. I want to read this to you guys. The most dramatic, and this is just part of our reading, so it's not a huge portion, but it's just the start. And I'll read it. I'll read this first one. You guys tell me whether this is a primary or secondary source, okay? The most dramatic moment in subsequent European-Native American relations was the first encounter between the Inca Emperor Atahualpa and the Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro at the Peruvian highland town of Cajamarca on November 16, 1532. So what do you guys think? Is this a primary or secondary source? Yes, Victoria. Secondary, right? And we'll talk more about why that is in just a second. Atahualpa was absolute monarch of the largest and most advanced state in the New World, while Pizarro represented the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, also known as King Charles I of Spain, monarch of the most powerful state in Europe. Pizarro, now this is where it's interesting. Pizarro, leading a ragtag group of 168 Spanish soldiers, was in unfamiliar terrain, ignorant of the local inhabitants, completely out of touch with the nearest Spaniards, 1,000 miles to the north in Panama, was I think Cabeza de Vaca or somebody, and far beyond the reach of timely reinforcement. Atahualpa was in the middle of his own empire of millions of subjects and immediately surrounded by his army of 80,000 soldiers, recently victorious in the war with other Indians. Nevertheless, Pizarro captured Atahualpa within a few minutes after the two leaders first set eyes on each other. Pizarro proceeded to hold his prisoner for 8 months while extracting history's largest ransom in return